We'll say goodbye to Norm and Amy here for getting us out on time. We now begin our journey to the front at Firestone Station. If you ever have a chance, stop by our Smith Street Train Depot, built in 1858 by Grand Trunk Railroad. It was the first stop on its way from Port Huron down to Detroit. It was located 8.5 miles outside of Port Huron in the countryside, so the station master and family were allowed to live at the depot and conduct railroad operations. Now coming up to our Detroit, Toledo, Milwaukee roundhouse. This comes from Marshall, Michigan, built in 1884 to service and maintain steam locomotives. We carry on that tradition today as a working roundhouse with the 3 coal-fired locomotives and diesel electric that we operate here during the season. Now just past the roundhouse, you can see the backside of Liberty Craftwork, where our artisans are creating glass, pottery, printing, and weaving. We're now approaching the Firestone Farm. This is home to Harvey Firestone, founder of the Firestone Rubber and Tire Company. If you have a chance, stop by the farmhouse. You can go inside, see what life was like. Check out our 2 dairy cattle. They are descendants of the original breed first brought over by the early colonists for milk and for food. They are located in the pasture right next to the farmhouse. Now to come into Firestone Station, I ask everybody to please look about you, make sure you have all of your belongings as well as cell phones, and then if you would, remain seated until we come to a complete stop. Once the whistle sounds, it will be safe to exit on the right-hand side. Please wait for that whistle. It's now safe to exit on the right-hand side. Getting us out on time. We now begin our The farmhouse that we'll be approaching was the birthplace of Henry Ford. He was born here July 30th, 1863. The farm was located just outside of Detroit, and the family raised sheep. If you ever have a chance, stop by the farmhouse. You can go inside and see what life was like for Henry growing up here as a young boy. Now, if you look to your left, just past the farmhouse, you can look down on our main street. Here you'll find the Right Cycle Shop, Right Home, Frozen Custard Ice Cream Stand, Ford Motor Company, Mary Cohen's Millinery, and our 1913 Herschel Spooning Carousel. The only carousel ever built that had a frog as one of its riding figures. Now coming up to Menlo Park, this is Thomas Edison's laboratory in New Jersey. He's credited with over 1,000 patents for this facility. If you ever have a chance, stop by, go inside, see his incandescent light bulb. Now if you look to your left across the street, the yellow building is the Sarah Jordan boarding house. This is where all the single young men that worked for Edison would stay and live. It was one of the first few buildings he had electrified. We're now approaching the Anthony Bridge. This is a gateway into our approaching the Powers District. From Susquehanna Station, you can go up the hill into Noah Webster's home. He is credited with giving us our first American dictionary that took over 25 years to complete. Or you can stroll down Maple Lane to see all the homes here in the village and all the cars that we have all both sides down the road. You can even go to the end of Maple Lane and see our windmill and colonial Daggett farmhouse. As we come into Susquehanna, we can say hi to Mike, station master here. And I ask everybody to please remain seated until we come to a complete stop. Once the whistle sounds, it will be safe to exit on the left-hand side. Please wait for that whistle. Yes, now. Say goodbye to Mike here for getting us out on time. We now begin our journey around the village to the north side at Smith Creek. We're passing by our Susquehanna plantation. This came from Tidewater, Maryland, and in the 1830s their principal crops were corn and tobacco. We're now coming up to our Cape Cod windmill. This was built in 1649 and is the last known original structure of its kind left to the United States. If you ever want to try colonial living, our Daggett farmhouse next to it predates the American Revolutionary War. It was built in 1754. If you ever have the chance, stop by and go inside and see what life was like in our colonial days. The engine pulling us today is our 1932 Edison. This was built by Mr. Ford at his Rouge complex for his very best friend, Thomas Edison. we enter into the reserve, this will kind of give you an idea of what it was like to travel across the United States in the early days of the railroad. Before that time, our major means of transportation were by stagecoach, wagon, horseback, or even walking. With the advent of the railroads, the time spent traveling distances was dramatically reduced. Right now, it's called a running core now. It's a standard procedure on all operating steam weapons. It's a way of eliminating any sediments that might be forming in the boiler. We're now coming into Walnut Grove. This is our activity field during the season. During the weekend, the 9th to the 10th here, we will have cars down here on the field doing demonstrations. From here you can also see the backsides of Cotswell Cottage, beginning Webster and Cross homes. We're now coming up to the Henry Ford Academy. To attend, you must be a resident of Wayne County. It is done on the lottery system, so if your name is John, you're allowed to attend here grades 9 through 12 for free. 9th grade starts at our academy next to the museum. The main building here is grades 10 and 11. And as you slowly go around the turn, you will find 3 Pullman cars that have been combined into 3 large classrooms. This is where the seniors finish out their final year. We'll now be passing by our Swanee Lagoon. This is totally used now for flood control here in the village. Towards the street. If you look to your left just past the stone building, you will see the Martha Mary Chapel. This was built by Mr. Ford's father and his mother and mother-in-law. Throughout the season, we host a lot of weddings in the chapel. Next to it is our Taste of History, offering a wide variety of food and drink cafeteria style. If you prefer a sit-down meal, Eagles Tavern next to it was a stagecoach stop between Detroit and Chicago. A wait stand for just a period clothing and the meals are brought to your table. Now as you come into the street, this can be your exit point to go 2 blocks over to Main Street in the Carousel. Down the hill you can go to Ford Motor Company or Wright Cycle Shop. Down Junction you can walk in front of the roundhouse or to Liberty Craftworks to watch our artisans creating glass, pottery, printing, and weaving. as we come into Smith Creek, we say hi to Mike. And again, I ask everybody to remain in your seats until we come to a complete stop. Once the whistle sounds, it'll be safe to exit on the left-hand side. Please wait for that whistle.